Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to my 30-day painting challenge. This is Ronald speaking. I'm an animator from Singapore and I'm trying to improve my painting skills. So yeah, if you want to watch my progress, you are at this is it. So I found some reference online and I'm just gonna do a photo study of the photo. Yeah. Ha ha ha. So let's start by painting some warm values of the background in my reference. Da da da. So that's that. Let me just create a new layer for the portrait. So this will be the cranium. Now this reference I chose is more of the side view because my previous paintings that I did were all like day one was a frontal one. They are mostly frontal. Hey, this Wonder Woman looks really kind of nice as a thumbnail. Yeah, but that's besides the point. Yeah, it's all frontal, and today I'm choosing to do a more side view one. And alright, since we're here, I have a YouTube channel, which you're probably watching this on. And I'm also posting onto Facebook, so if you're watching on Facebook, wait, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel. I don't know what's the URL of my channel. You can just type Ronald Fong animation and hopefully you'll land at this page. Or you can type painting faces every day. Right, I think you should land here if you want to check out all the painting progress, all recorded real time. So if it helps you to understand my painting process better, this is the place to check it out. And of course, if you have Facebook, you can go to my facebook.com/Ronald Fong animation, right? And then you can see that I post all the GIFs and stuff also here. So this is yesterday's challenge. Boom. And also my blog is where I post all the tips for animators who want to find a career in the animation scene in Singapore. That's where you can find some useful information, production tips and stuff like that. Right, but yeah, if you're listening to this, you're most probably more interested in painting, so right, let's get back to it. So side view, this is the cranium, this is the jaw. No, so yesterday I did that portrait with, no, I think it was the Wonder Woman one. I did it with I did some base, very loose drawing because it has many things going on in that composition. For this one, I think I can just slap in some values and then work from there. Should be fine. Size it up. Like this. This is the neck area. Runs very far down. She's wearing a sweater. This kind of jogger's jacket. Probably a much larger head. I have tendencies to draw the head smaller. I have no idea why. Strange. It's too big. Something strange is going on. Just move his head. Boom, boom, boom. Make it less space here. And she has a ponytail, and it goes this way. There are some folds here. Let me just just try to suggest that with some strokes to remind myself what needs to go in there. Maybe get rid of it as the base layer. Okay. I think this is a little bit off. It needs to reach all the way down here. I think it's quite important to get things right, even at a rough stage, because it saves some time later when you're trying to focus on values, reflection, glossiness, and texture and things like that, and then you still have to worry about proportion. So that's why having a line drawing is very helpful. It gets at least the silhouette part, the design part of the painting out of the way. But since I'm starting with just the values, try to get this right. I think I've never painted something full on side view before. It feels very unfamiliar. Actually, I haven't really painted all that much. Slide. Oh, this is a good idea. Just even on the silhouette base, try to get some value variation. It's quite nice to help. Okay, duplicate this. And let's work on the jacket first. It's a bright yellow highlights, accentuating colors on the jacket. And the jacket color is actually blue. So let me just grab this entire area and try to make it blue, 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 blue. Something along this line, but a lot more desaturated. Slightly purple. Maybe it's here. Right. Okay. And she has a pale beige skin tone. Her hairline runs this way, it's a pullback. So for some reason I merged if you can see this out of the screen, I merged the foreground with the background. So that wasn't a good idea because I had the silhouette, but that's fine. So it's of a lighter value. It's more saturated, but it's not yellow. It's more reddish. But lighter value. Skin is always tough, man. Right, I should try to achieve a mid-tone here. And then I'll add the shadows and highlights and all those things from the mid-tone. And for this part, it's, there's a slight red hue in the hair, brownish red. This is my base color layer, and okay, so let me just draw Added some values to suggest where the shoulder starts. Excuse me. So let me just, before I get into the folds, paint the shoulder form here like this, and the underside of the shoulder of the arm is darker. Let me just crop this away. And some values, lighter values here. I'm gonna try to stick to 60% brush opacity, at least for the start, so I don't get lost in trying to change opacity to hit all the smooth transitions. It helps me make decisions faster. Cannot speak at night. This yellow is actually a lot more saturated and dark. Not that much more, but something like this. Here too. There's a slight pink of something. I have no idea what's that, but let me just add it in. So I think the background is actually a lot less yellow. Let me desaturate it. It's probably a bit pinker. Slightly. Okay, and this side of there's a halo thing going on, as in the very, I don't know what you call this. Let me show you what I mean. This shine on the hair. I guess you can call it a shine on the hair. It's a very prominent one because of the roundness of the tied up hair. But there's some kind of texture of the hair that goes here, so I'm gonna probably shouldn't get the texturing now. Yep, so that's that. Right, so I said to stick to the opacity of 60, right? Let's do that. I'll try to keep to it, keep to what I said just now. This area is darker. Dark, dark, dark. Some red. I'm bored of this view. Flip the canvas. Add some very. Let me start with the highlights. So the forehead gets light. This area here before the temple gets light. Her cheekbone gets light. She has some makeup on her cheek. She's tricky. I'll paint that the last. Face paint. And this is dark. Let me try to get some dark value. Values here, 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 and dark values here. Yeah, maybe I should try not looking at the reference for a little bit, and then try to invent what I think is correct, and then have a look at the reference to see how far off I am. So I'm not looking at the reference now, just trying. I'm thinking the ear should be here, and this, there's some ear loops going on. I have no idea how that works. And it casts some shadow. It probably has some red in the ear. Still from here. Maybe it has some. Yeah, so the light hits here. Probably catches some light here. I have no idea. And then it should cast shadow on this nostril into the eyes, and the eyebrows will run from here to here. All guesswork. Because my understanding of the facial anatomy is 6 days strong, 5 days strong. So I guess there's some, should be some kind of jawline, and if the light hits that area, it should hit here too. Maybe like this, and face muscle, lighter maybe. Cast shadow of the nose. Alright, this area always gets highlights. Chin should get some highlight at the bottom. Maybe like this. Maybe even hotter than that. So this is what I've got. Let me see how close is it to the reference. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Let me show you what is wrong. So the light hit this area and it falls past. So I guess there's light from the left side of this camera, so not so much frontal in front of her. It actually fell here and onto the cheek. It's very hot. Value here on the cheek. Very hot value here on the forehead. Very hot on the nose. Very hot in this area, so I got that part kind of correct. And this area is not so defined. It's actually like this. And some light comes through here. And this area is actually all in shadow from what's cast by the chin. So I added some highlight there. That totally isn't what is in the reference. Oh no, I was speaking too soft. Hopefully that's okay. should try to sit straight away from the mic and speak louder. Get some highlights here. Blah blah blah. And this cheek area actually runs here, so the eye socket doesn't run all the way back like this. It actually runs to only here. Right, so I was super duper off with the facial anatomy. So there wasn't so much of light here. Somehow there's enough separation. Alright, but this chin here has some highlights that runs to this hole. This indentation right beside the edge of the jaw. And she looks a bit scary now. Get some rosiness in the cheek. Here, that is adding too much value. Here, here, here. Here, here, here. Here, 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 here. Here, here, here. Something like this. So let me get this area correct. I think that's alright. Let me go into the face. And I'm gonna invent the eye. I shall avoid looking at the reference. So that usually this edge of the eye here and this edge, the upper lid goes here. There would be lashes. And if it's a double eyelid, let me just draw that in. There will be an eyeball, convex, and there will be shadow, and the skin would run from behind the eye all the way here, and there would be eye bags. Let me just, should I check the drawing or should I add values first? Check the drawing. Okay, at least the expression in the reference is more half closed, and because it's actually looking up, so actually the line here shouldn't go down so much. And let me just get the half closedness in, because it's slightly more expressive that way. So I should probably, it's a good idea to draw the curve of the eyeball and how it goes up into the eyebrow ridge, which in this case is too, well, it's not too high. It's just that I could move the eyebrows up. So the eyebrows should start from here instead. I didn't even notice that. She's actually looking up, and this thing falls off into the rest of her face. So highlights, I will get some on here, on the bottom side of the double eyelid, and somehow the area here before the eye socket starts. and above this piece is then the brow. Oh, I've gone silent again. Because I'm just replicating the painting now, which is not good. I should make some insightful observations to help these videos have more value, to help others who want to paint. That's actually what I'm trying to do, on top of helping myself. To adjusting the proportions. So I realized the head should be tilted upwards and this forehead is like so I should move it backward just to help with the idea that she's facing slightly up, tilting her head slightly upwards. Let's move this here, move the chin there. She's actually sticking her neck out this way. So it's like proportion changes. And she has very scary lips now. So the lip folds this way, and there's the center part of the lip that comes here. She has some teeth which cannot be seen in this view. Maybe a little bit. And here usually it catches some light at the edge of the mouth. It's probably too bright. And shadow. And some form in the bottom lip. And that will cast some reddish shadow. Shadow. And get some light here. This is obviously too high value, so we push that back in. And let me just get the eyebrow. So it combs up this way, thicker towards the center, and towards the side it kind of fades off. So it comes in here, and I should probably use some very hot highlight, like in the reference, just to line it for value separation from the background. Not everywhere needs it, but some areas, because of the fine hair on the skin, right, it's able to catch all these kind of highlights. So there's no real line in real life that's surrounding our faces, but the way the light interacts with the surrounding and value separation. So like this lip versus this background allows me to see what is there. And when this kind of hot highlight happens, is because there are tiny hair here, and it's able to catch some kind of highlight here. Hopefully I'm correct. I think I'm correct. Or maybe the light is angled that way. Either or. It comes here. Alright, so I'm learning painting as much as you probably are if you're watching this and trying to paint too. so don't take my word for it. I only know what works for the kind of painting quality that you can see on my channel, which is probably okay for some people, but not like a master or anything like that. The idea, the reason why I even got into painting, I started by learning concept art myself from YouTube, obviously Fing's channel, Level Up, and those places. It's all because I wanted to paint the ideas I had in my mind. And I think it's very important to learn fundamentals, like everyone on the every master says so. So I know a lot of tricks to make things look nice, but I think the pro eye can tell that it's not 100% very grounded in the foundation, but I can get ideas across. So I learned up to that point and I was like, okay, I'm happy, because I just need to communicate my ideas to my team. But if you have very good painting skills, you can do that even better. So that's what I'm trying to do. Improve it. So there's a side ball to the nose, and it's darker at this corner, and there is a nostril that runs here, and because it's facing the bottom, it catches less light, so it's in the shadow. And of course the nose casts some shadows onto the area above the lip. Boop, 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 boop. Black lipstick. And this value is probably too high. Let me try to get some value here to dampen it down. Okay, so my guesswork with the ear is terrible. I got this part correct, but actually it catches a lot more light here. Well, at least the position of the ear is kind of, no, it's actually very off. So there is always this Y letter that runs into the ear, so I should probably draw that Y the next time to suggest the shape of the ear. And it also catches a lot of highlight here, and this area is all shadow. Shadow, darker shadow. Alright, so one very quick way to pick up the color selection menu on the fly on the PC is hold alternate shift, right click, and this menu just pops up. And it pops up from the value you're at, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, from the value selected. So if you hold alternate and you select the value, let's say this very light beige, and then you can pick something there. So if I want to go darker, I swing to the bottom right, it gets darker. If I want to make it lighter, I swing to the top left. If I want to make it desaturated, I swing it down. So the hue, saturation, and value system is kind of like I think the easiest way to think about color. The ear is actually angled this way. Let me just fix that before I continue with painting the ear at the wrong place. is more or less correct here. Merge it down. So there are very sharp lasso lines here. Let me just use so this the reference I had the darks corrected to some kind of blue. And it's in the dark tones of the hair here, there's blue, and let me just add that in. It might not be how the real lighting situation works, but what I'm trying to study here is photo quality portraits. So sometimes we just mimic the lens effects. Here a loop runs here. And there is a piece of jewelry, an earring. But I shall put down another layer called earring. Just not to get. Just in case I want to shift it, it won't be so much of a hassle. It's quite a big earring. Oh yeah, my first attempt is to drawing an ellipse is quite okay. I was working on a headphones commercial, and I had to draw so many ellipses. I'm working on the storyboarding for that one. And that kind of forced me to be able to draw ellipses quite okay. Obviously I'm using a lot of tools now to cheat. Haha, power of digital painting. Let me try to fix some reflection. What's up with this earring? Okay, I'll leave the earring as that. It's actually a lot brighter. And probably I can reduce my selection by 3 pixels. No, by 1 pixel, invert it and press delete to make it thinner. And it's also still not an oval. So I'm gonna just cheat the hell out of this. Still not quite there. Just add some paint. Manual control. And the white. It'll be a lot easier if the Cintiq is with me. The Cintiq is, for me the Cintiq is only useful for drawing stuff, because I get 1:1. When I place my cursor on the screen, it's like when I draw on paper, so that's good. But for painting, I find my hands very tired working on the Cintiq. So this tablet is there for painting. Unless there's a lot of proportions that you need to get right in the painting. So it really just depends on what you're trying to do. But in general, painting requires a lot of paint strokes on the canvas. And in that sense, you would want to rest your arms on the tablet instead. And also, it doesn't obscure your vision too much. When you're painting, you can see, if you're painting with the tablet and looking at the screen, you don't actually, your vision actually doesn't get as obscured as compared to having your arm and all your hand and head in the way of the screen. It allows for, I think, better feedback loop because you're constantly seeing the whole image. So yeah, I actually prefer the normal tablet for painting. And this area looks very scary. The top eyelid should always cast some shadow. Not always, but in general. Some reflection. And this area doesn't have this weird thing popping out. But probably okay, and her bottom lip here looks weird. Get rid of this shadow that's too dark. And the ball of the nose goes here, comes up here, rounds here, and then we use the background value to refine the shape of the nose. Extend this value so that it's not obvious that we use that to paint the nose. And then we get some thicker strands of loose hair. She does have a nice, quite interesting hairband here. Or is it a hair? I cannot tell. I think it's a hairband. No one ties their hair up with their own hair, right? Sounds like it would be a disaster. I have no idea, I have short hair. Zoom, 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 zoom. And get some hotter reds here, just a few strands to suggest. One strand here to suggest. They all come out from this point of the head. And it gets dark in the shadow. Gets dark here because it's reflecting more dark hair. And then use the dodge tool to get some highlights here. Oh wow, that's too hot, but it's interesting. I can get some attention onto the eye area. Just creative liberties. Shouldn't allow it to fall onto the background. Cut that away. Yeah, helps for a clearer value separation. There's some kind of orange red tint going on under this cheek. Let me just add that in. For the whole face, maybe. There's some strange patch here on the forehead. Just get rid of that. And very neat hair. Should choose more pictures like this than to draw all the hair. Like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman character has so much curly hair. Nice hair, just time consuming to paint. This area here can be darker. Let me try to add some hair suggestions. It's a lot darker. Let me use the burn tool to burn this area, and get the highlight tool, dodge tool to highlight this area. And this area. Let me get a sponge because it's not supposed to create this kind of crazy orange. And there should probably be more, like the highlights that come here, shoot out. Darken these and use the dodge tool to create more highlights here, just to make sure the continuity of the hair texture goes, and try to get some of that shine going on in the head. And I'm starting to paint like crazy, not crazy, one of those kind of illustration styles where there's highlights everywhere. Super specular skin. It's a nice, interesting style because the skin doesn't actually get that glossy until it's oiled. I'm talking about this kind, like and then some crazy shiny hair, Yeah, but that's not how the cameras work. But I always think it looks very nice. It's not the objective of this photo studies. So paint. Okay, I'm done with the portrait. I'm lazy to do this shoulder. Maybe a little bit more. Add the shadow. Go here. It's a jacket. I'm trying to learn to paint faces, not jackets. Dark. Go. Overall highlight here. Some highlight here. And there's a shoulder. Yeah, so you get some highlight. Get the skin. The skin runs all the way down to the neck area. Zoom. And soften this transition. Take some values from the outside. This is actually darker. Some highlight. Darker. Zip. This is the zip. The zip should have some little details, stuff like that. Maybe not. Looks like clean one in the reference. So, I try not to. So it's always a mistake that you think you know what it looks like and then you add detail, but it actually doesn't look like that. There's some nice lens blur, which I can show you guys how I edit. I did that for some previous paintings, but I didn't really show it in the video, so that's one tip to share later when I'm done with this. My eyes are itchy. Or rather, IEG. Okay. So that is almost done. There's some nice furry texture on the jacket. Alright, let me face paint as a separate layer. There's this brush stroke, very cool one. Oops. Should probably get some textured brush. Okay. I have 2 strokes here. Bridge it down. Use this warp tool to push it to line up with the cheek. And this looks quite digital, so let me use the eraser tool with texture layer mask and use a textured brush. I'm gonna dab on it, dab. Dab, 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 dab. Dab, dab, dab. Erase. Erase. Nope. Erase. Yeah, right. That's the one. Dab, 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 dab. Dab. No, dab. Dab, 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 dab. Duplicate. Preserve. Preserve. Let me just draw it all over again. Apply the layer mask. And so hard to achieve this. Give up. Just like that can ready. Face paint in my layers. Maybe as a overlay is nice. No, looks weird. Hard light versus normal hard light. Looks like there's more integration with the skin. Probably gotta paint this away. This area, the neck is a lot softer, the transition of the values, so she doesn't have this crazy muscular neck. And try to refine the shape of this jacket collar. What else? I think we're done. Alright, the earring, I can use more highlight here. Bling. Oh no. Seems like it's the wrong area. No, I did not merge the earring in. So how did that happen? No idea. But it's quite fun. So we got that down. And this white value here is a bit distracting. Get rid of it. And yeah, let me try to make sure the overall face values are good. So this actually is supposed to be darker. Slightly. Actually, I messed that up. Undo, 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 undo. Let's use some skin tone here. Okay, that's it. This area is a bit too hot. Maybe it was the dodge, not too sure. But normal. Yeah, I think we're done. How about adding some very thin straight strands? Always as a last. 锦上添花，画龙点睛。So straight strands of hair here. Frisky ones. No. That's terrible actually. So little hair that comes out in and out here. Maybe not. Yeah, so for tied up hair you cannot really do much. Maybe the only way to add some hair is here. Okay. So let me write my name. I usually call it just the date. It's just for documentation's sake. Let's go Ronald Fong animation, and it's the 23rd of June 2017, and just draw a line. Zoom, put it here, lower the opacity. That is good. Maybe make it longer. Maybe it's better if it's this way. Nah, this is good. Oh, actually it looks weird. Let me flip the image and put it here. Alright, that looks better. It's enough contrast to sit at the corner. And let me add some darker values at the corners of the image. A little bit will do. Vignette. And so I'm missing a bit of the darks in here. Let me just try to edit in like this, but not like that. So this area lost the shadows here too. Yep. So I've written my name, the date, and yeah, let me just talk a little bit through what we did today. Zoom close to the background, blah blah blah. Let me save my work. To the background, got the base shape. Try to erase some values to such as some lights that are coming from various sources. Added some color that's relevant to the reference. Slapped some paint to define the main blocks of shapes. Refined the head shape, and finally adding more lives into the skin by adding some reds and add some what do you call it, little details here and there. I think I need to break out this shape more. It looks very, sorry, got distracted by the very repetitive way that this hair flows now. So some needs to go there, some needs to go here, some needs to be of this color instead. Maybe some to go outward. Yeah, because when it's too repetitive, the human eye managed to catch out some patterns and it looks very fake. So the hair is not as thick towards the edges, so I'm just going to use the background and lighten it. Also can act as a fill light. And this is obviously super shiny metallic hairband, but it's not the case. So let me just bring the values back. It's just normal. rubber band, I think, but you can get some highlight. Yep, and then also added the face paint and the earring. And yeah, so let me just hide the date. Oh, the date is hidden. Let me show you how to do the Z depth thingy. So these are techniques from the 3D software. So if there are any 3D people out there, you should be familiar with a Z depth pass, which you can then use a camera lens blur or defocus node to blur it. So there's a way to do that also in Photoshop. It's just that you have to paint your own Z depth pass. So obviously I want my face to be in focus, so let me just generate the background, new layer, so you're painting black and white here, and everything that's not in the background should be in focus, kind of. So I'm gonna fill it with a white, a white value, but not that white, because I want the main area of focus to still be the face and the depth plane that lies with the face. So I'm just gonna create a new layer and hide that area, and okay, so what, and determine what do I want to be in focus now with white. So this is a cheat, it's not like 100% accurate, but say I want eyes, nose and mouth areas really to be in focus, and it lies on the same depth plane as the ear and this part of the hair, so I cannot ignore it. So these are all the same depth plane, with the head as the shoulder is just okay. So this shoulder is more towards the camera, so it won't be in the same depth plane. So but the body should run, all this should be in the same depth plane. So maybe this area, but this comes slightly towards the camera, so this area is in the same depth plane. So it's just an estimation, and then I'll blur it quite a bit to mimic the Z depth pass. Okay, turn this on, so the white light has fell through to the background and it will create some crazy artifacts. So the idea is to select all the blacks again in this bottom layer and delete all the excess from the top. So now what this is reading, if we apply the defocus node or the camera lens blur, is that the white is in focus, the gray is less in focus, and the background is entirely not in focus. I think the magic one gives some results that are like this, so I think it might be wise to just, let's first merge it down and then blur like 10, no, maybe not 10 pixels, but 3 pixels, so that's not so don't have the, what do you call it, aliasing problems and things like that. So this is the Z depth, and I'll copy this value, go to the channels, create a new channel alpha, and just paste it, and I can hide this layer now. And so this is my final painting layer. I may want to duplicate that. For the blurring, go to filter, what do you call it, camera lens blur, blur, camera lens blur, and then in our depth map source we can choose alpha, and let's pull this distance to 0, so it either reads the black or the white value. I think that's how it works, not entirely sure. Let's turn off the preview for faster. Somehow the click and drag doesn't work. 0. Right, this works. Turn on the preview. So as you can see, the preview has caused the shoulder towards the camera to be out of focus. The plane where the face is lying is still in focus, but I'm losing a lot of the mouth and nose area, so those should be in focus. So let me redefine my Z depth. So this was it. I probably want all of this to be in focus. So let me generate a new layer, select the black areas, like these black areas, invert, and create a new white one, a white fill, and then I'm gonna erase all of this to make sure that the face is in focus. Hopefully that will work. Maybe I will just put it at 90% so that there's slight blurring. Merge it down, copy, go to channel, alpha, and paste it again. So I've refined the edge, making sure that it won't go blur. Go to filter, because just now I didn't commit to the change, right? Didn't commit to the filter. So that's why I was able to refine my edge and do it. Now refine my Z depth, pass and do it, and reapply the operation. So go to blur, lens blur, and turn off the preview because it's very laggy, unless you have a better computer than mine, which you likely have. My computer is really not that great. Turn on preview, and yeah, we see that the main face stays in focus. Things other than that gets blurred. It's quite cool, but it's probably too blurred, so maybe I want my radius to be 25, maybe 50. Is that too much? That's too much. What does 25 give me? Still quite blurred. So turn off and on preview. Maybe I can try to add noise. Maybe not. Maybe I can add specular highlights. I turn down my threshold and it goes boom. So that's not very good. Turn it down a little bit. 219, 184 gets blown out. 212, things also get blown out. 231, so slightly it gets blown out. So we uncheck and check the preview to see the difference. So for photographic effect on a not very refined painting with the paint marks, it doesn't work so well. But if you have refined your painting to a certain level, this will work quite well. And of course, it's probably a good idea to include the face paint and the earring in this blurring process to be part of the image. It's just that I didn't merge it down. So click OK, and then this is our blurred one, and this is a non-blurred one. So yeah, turn on the earring, face paint, the date, and that's it. Very slight treatment. Okay, I think we're done. So there was the recap, and right, so the last mention of all these places that you can find the painting. So painting faces everyday challenge, day 6 of 30 is just done. My YouTube channel, my Facebook page with GIFs and these videos and blah blah blah. Okay, take care, have fun painting, and bye bye.